The first time my parents called my daughter a burden, I brushed it off as stress talking. It was a sweltering July evening, and I brought Ava, my 4-year-old, over after work because my babysitter had canceled at the last moment. My mom opened the door, glanced at Ava's flushed, sweaty face, and then fixed me with a look. "Why do you always expect us to drop everything for your kid?" I forced a nervous laugh and handed Ava a cold drink, hoping it would lighten the tension. "Just for a few hours, Mom. I've got to cover an extra shift. Rent's due." My dad didn't even look up from his recliner. "We raised our kids, not our grandkids," he muttered. Ava peeked out from behind me, clutching her purple stuffed bunny like armor. "Hi, Grandpa," she said softly. He grunted in response. No smile, no warmth. I tried to convince myself they were just tired, but the indifference I had always sensed toward me, especially compared to my sister Courtney, was growing sharper, colder, almost cruel. Courtney had married a man my parents adored, a dentist who showered them with gifts, trips, and renovations. When her twins were born, my mom spent weeks knitting blankets for them. When Ava was born, I received a short text. "Congrats. Hope you can handle it." I swallowed that sting for years, hiding it so Ava wouldn't see my pain. I worked 2 jobs, skipped meals, missed birthdays, but I made sure my daughter was loved, safe, and happy. Seeing her smile at bedtime was my proof that I was doing something right. That belief lasted until the night they left her screaming beside a dumpster. The day began like any other chaotic day. I got called into work last minute for a double-pay shift. Ava was sick and couldn't attend daycare. I tried Courtney first, voicemail. Text, no reply. I knew better than to hope for help, but I called my parents. "Just a few hours, please," I begged. There was a long silence. "We're heading out to dinner," my mom said evenly. "Reservations at 6 o'clock. I checked the clock. It was 5:22. I could be there in 10 minutes. "Ava hasn't eaten all day. She needs rest. I promise I'll have her back before you even return." More silence. Then my dad's voice came through. "We'll wait until we get back," he said flatly. 10 minutes, he said. "Not one more." I thanked them, my voice trembling, bundled Ava into the car with her bunny, and drove as if a storm were behind me. When I pulled into their driveway, they were already heading to their car, my mother in heels too high for her age, my father patting his pockets for his wallet. "She's sick," I said softly. "Just let her lie on the couch." I packed her medicine and everything. My mother opened the back door. Ava whimpered. "I don't feel good," she said. "You'll be fine," my mother muttered without really looking at her. "Just don't throw up on anything expensive." My father crouched down, eye to eye with Ava. "No noise, no fuss." "Got it." Ava closed her eyes. I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You're safe. Mama loves you." Then I left, promising myself I'd bring her ice cream after my shift. That promise died halfway through my shift. At 7:43, my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. She cried too much. We left her outside. "Can't be bothered. Enjoy your shift." I thought I must be reading it wrong. I called. No answer. Called again, straight to voicemail. My hand shook as I shoved off my apron and ran out without telling my manager. It took 11 minutes to get there. When I pulled up, the porch was empty, the lights off. But I heard something. Ava crying behind the trash bins. I sprinted to the side of the house and found her curled in a ball on the cold concrete next to the dumpster, her bunny soaked. Her face was blotchy, her hands trembling, her eyes wild. "Mommy." She ran into my arms, her body ice cold. "I called for you. I called so much." I didn't say anything. I just held her. In that instant, I stopped being the daughter who begged for scraps of love. I became the mother who would never forget. I didn't knock. I didn't scream. I took Ava home, warmed her soup, and held her until she fell asleep on my chest. Then I opened my laptop and started planning. Not just revenge, but removal. Not from a house, from their lives. Permanently. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the dark, Ava's breath soft against my chest, watching the ceiling fan spin like a clock, counting down to the end of whatever illusion of family I had left. The next morning, I took Ava to the pediatrician. Her voice was thin, her throat raw from crying, her temperature low. The doctor looked at me with cautious concern. How long was she out there? I lied. A minute or two. The doctor looked doubtful, but prescribed medicine and told me to keep her warm. Walking out of the office, I felt like my world had already crumbled. All I had left was that small hand in mine, and I would not let go. Not again. That week I didn't contact my parents. I didn't reply when my mother texted 2 days later. We hope Ava learned her lesson. Disrespect is loud. I didn't even feel anger. I just read it, close a message, and saved it to a private folder I created. Folder name, Truth. Every text, every insult, every she's not our problem. I screenshot them all, but my plan wasn't about exposure. That would be too easy, too public. I didn't want pity or social media points. I wanted consequence and silence, the kind that eats away at people when they think they've won. So I started where it would hurt the most, their image, Courtney's reputation. I knew my parents were obsessed with appearances, especially now that Courtney's husband was running for local office. My father bragged to anyone who'd listen that his son-in-law was the future of the district. My mother had printed campaign shirts with our last name underlined like it meant royalty. They hosted fancy dinner parties and garden soirees. They made donations far beyond their means just to have their names etched on shiny plaques. And all the while, I remained unseen. Or maybe I wasn't entirely invisible. I still had something they overlooked. Influence. I held a position in logistics and event planning for one of the city's top hotel chains. Conveniently, that same hotel was booked for Courtney's husband's major campaign gala in just 3 weeks. I pulled every string I could think of, rescheduling shifts, swapping assignments, rearranging calendars. I made sure my co-worker, a trusted friend, was assigned to run the event coordination that night. A few days before the fundraiser, I requested her assistance on some catering details. When she saw whose names were on the guest list, her eyes widened. "Wait, that's your family?" I nodded. "You want this event to succeed?" she asked. I smiled faintly. I wanted to go exactly as they planned. She understood immediately. At home, I devoted myself entirely to Ava. Extra bedtime stories, fresh pajamas. Little gifts like a $12 play doctor said she had been dreaming of, because she wanted to help sick children someday. Meanwhile, I began to pull back from my parents in public. Their calls went unanswered. My replies about Ava were clipped and one-worded. I watched them shift uncomfortably, the discomfort rising with every ignored call. Then Courtney appeared, standing in my doorway with her immaculate hair and staged elegance. She said, "Look, I know things got tense, but Mom and Dad are genuinely hurt you're ignoring them." I stared at her. "You mean they're hurt? I didn't thank them for putting my daughter near a trash bin?" She rolled her eyes. "You're always so dramatic. She's fine, isn't she?" I said nothing, slowly closing the door. She pounded on it. "You're just jealous. You always have been. Just because Mom and Dad chose me doesn't mean you can wreck everything now." Chose. That word echoed in my mind. They had always chosen her. And now it was my turn to choose myself. 3 nights before the campaign fundraiser, another message arrived from my mother. Courtney claimed, "You've grown distant. Whatever happened to family first? That's why we invited you to dinner." Family. We couldn't handle your drama anymore. I didn't reply. Instead, I printed her message, sealed it in an envelope, and enlisted Ava's help to tape it shut. The night of the event, I dressed plainly, black blouse, dark jeans, simple flats, blending into the crowd. I wasn't there to perform. I was there to act silently. Just before the guests arrived, I slipped into the back office. My friend handed me a folder containing everything I needed: seating charts, microphone schedules, VIP donor lists, and one critical detail they had overlooked: the family spotlight segment. 5 minutes were scheduled for remarks highlighting family pride, during which the campaign manager would mention Courtney and her parents, praising their values and legacy. "Are you sure about this?" my friend asked. I nodded. I wouldn't speak a word, but I would make sure the truth surfaced. The envelope Ava and I had carefully sealed wasn't just filled with screenshots. It held a chronological account of every incident, dates, times, text messages, and a statement in bold letters written by Ava herself, spelled out carefully, letter by letter with my guidance. Grandma left me at the trash. I was scared. I cried. I called for Mom. She didn't come. Right as the family spotlight segment began, the envelope was accidentally placed in the donation box by the campaign manager, mistaking it for a donor form. And just like that, the truth they had never expected was about to speak for itself. He unfolded it on stage, reading aloud as if the entire room depended on each word. By the time he reached the part that mattered, I whispered for my mom. She didn't come. Silence swallowed the space. Thick, heavy, suffocating. Courtney's grin froze mid-expression. My father's eyes blinked rapidly. My mother shook her head slowly, disbelief spreading across her face, until murmurs turned to gasps. Phones appeared. Cameras clicked. The word dumpster hung in the air like a spell that refused to break. Courtney lunged toward the microphone. This is fake. It's stage. My sister is sabotaging us, she shouted. But I didn't flinch. I rose from the back, walked straight down the aisle without a word. I handed my ID to the campaign manager and nodded. He read it, then glanced at Courtney. You never said your sister worked at the hotel, he said. I had been asked to speak. I declined, because sometimes silence carries more weight than any speech ever could. I turned and left. And no, I didn't hear applause. Only silence, the kind that scorches pride and sinks into the chest, leaving an ache that lingers. They didn't contact me immediately. For an entire week, the headline screamed, "Campaign rocked by family scandal. Why was a child abandoned near a dumpster?" Sister stays silent while truth speaks. Courtney's husband withdrew from the race in days. Major donors vanished. My father lost consulting work that had only existed because of his connection. My mother stopped showing up at her church duties. They disappeared until they didn't. It began with a message from Dad. This has gone too far. You've made your point. Then my mother left a voicemail, voice trembling, sniffling. We're ruined. Courtney's marriage is in danger. People are talking. Your daughter is exaggerating. Please, we're still your parents. Still, the word parents carried the weight of obligation, a debt I had once felt in my bones. They sent a gift, a doll for Ava. No card. Ava looked at it, frowned, and whispered, "Is this from the people who called me loud?" I nodded. She shook her head. "I don't want it." So we donated it to the shelter down the street. Next, they showed up in person. One evening, I opened the door to see them standing there, thinner than I remembered, hollow-eyed, like people who had starved for notice, realizing no one cared anymore. Dad tried to offer a smile. "Can we come in?" Ava gripped my hand tightly behind me. I looked at her, then back at them. "No," Mom gasped. "We're your family." I shook my head. Family doesn't abandon children beside garbage. Family doesn't celebrate their suffering. Dad's voice cracked. "We raised you." I smiled gently. "And now I'm raising her. Without you." I closed the door slowly, locked it, and sat beside Ava. We turned on her favorite cartoon, shared popcorn, and let the phone buzz unanswered behind us. Because I wasn't living for apologies anymore. I was living for peace, for warmth, for bedtime songs, safe arms, and a future where Ava would never doubt that she mattered. My parents could beg all they wanted, but silence, that is all they would ever receive from me. And now, if you enjoyed this story, subscribe to our channel and tell us in the comments where you're watching from.